A jinn is used in Islamic tradition to mean demon or genie, and it is that same demon that is attached to the amulet that is given to Sophia by her very own mother.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And yourself?
I am just waking up.
Oh God, what's the time?
It's 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to bed I went to bed like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I couldn't sleep, so I was like, I'm gonna just try to force myself to sleep. Then I woke up at 6.
Yeah, that's how it always is. Yeah, like you just can never get that right perfect amount of sleep.
No, not at all. And now when I almost overslept because I was like, I for some reason I'm thinking today was gonna be at 10. I was like,
yeah,
for my time, I was like, I'm good. I wake up at 9, eat some food, whatever, and I'll be okay. They were like, wait a minute, no. Wait, it's 9 o'clock. Oh crap. Anyway, how's it over there today?
Well, it's looking much lovelier than usual. We don't have any rain at the moment, which is a very common thing that happens here. That's why everyone's obsessed about the weather, because we never know what's going to happen.
What? Maybe it's a common thing. It always rains, like in Seattle.
Yeah, in the UK, it's like constantly raining. It was raining yesterday, and it's July, so.
Oh my God, it's been nothing but sun and fire over here.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's scorched heat. Like this, if you shouldn't wear nothing more than a t-shirt. That's how hot it is.
I see. Wow. Now over here, I'm just like, got my jumper on.
So how is life in general?
Life in general, well, it certainly has come with its ups and its downs. It's been like a bumpy road, but I think I'm finding a lot of peace at the moment just because I've managed to get away. Like I'm in this like lovely little English cottage, staying with a friend of mine, and I've been able to get away from the city life in London and just like block everything out and just focus on some creative work at the moment. So that's what we're doing here. How about you? What's going on with you?
Oh, same here. I didn't get a chance like you to get lucky enough to escape the city. I'm still in the city, but 2020, let's start there. 2020 for me was like, for most people it was chaotic. For me it was like, I was thriving because I had more time to do stuff, and I was thinking about. There, I feel better now. I woke up, my eyes were all messed up, and like, I have to adjust my eyes. Now I feel better. Yeah. But I was thriving more in 2020 because I was able to focus more, and now I'm just in general. Now that I adjusted to how the chaotic life of everything is, now I'm just more focused with everything. So like you, I'm focused more on the art, whether it's drawing or whatnot, but I'm loving it. I am loving it. I'm glad that 2020, the life has ended.
Yeah.
the pandemic thing is ended. But at the same time, I wish I had more time, but like now I have to go back to like responsibilities.
Yeah, no, absolutely. To be honest, like in 2020, I had just finished my degree, my master's degree. So what happened there was that everything just came to an abrupt end all at once. So I finished the degree. My terribly abusive relationship had ended as well during the pandemic. So it was just like being part of that statistic because, being locked up together just really exacerbated everything. So then once that had sort of like finished, I had to move back in with my parents. I was looking for a job, and I like, really, it is a miracle that I did manage to get a job during this where people were being, like just, fired essentially, just being told, can you please go home, being made redundant. It's awful. It was awful. It was a terrible, terrible time, but things are definitely looking more hopeful. I would also say there is like a big sense of hope, especially with England winning the semi-final against Denmark yesterday as well, in terms of the football. Or soccer.
I understood. Like, I'm actually trying to get more in line to calling football and ours American football. Like, I'm trying to get more.
I see.
Because, like, every time I type in football, like, what happened with football? Like, how come it keeps on? Oh, that's right. I'm like, you ever wonder about things like that? How come it's so, the names, the sport in general, it's like, why couldn't we just call it something different? I never understood that. Why don't we just take the whole day? Anyway, I'm glad everything is coming better now for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry for your messed up abusive relationship. That sucks.
Look, we take that step forward. It's like, when things start going wrong, you just know that it's time for you to make a move and step forward.
Yes.
And it's scary. It is absolutely fear-inducing, but the main thing is that we do take that step forward. And just, starting by getting that job, for me, that was the biggest step forward, to be honest. So, and since then, things have slowly been on the rise. I've even written it's not a feature-length script, it's a pilot episode for a TV show that I really want to make. So let's see where that goes. That's another manifestation in progress.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure if this is for you, but let's talk about, and not in so much detail, but what did you learn from the bad relationship about yourself?
Oh, that I am too willing to just keep the peace. That's the biggest fault about me. It's like I'm not really a quitter, but it's important to know when to quit, because at the end of the day, that could save your life, Mm-hmm. I think that has been the biggest learning point. That is a part of me that I'm still very much willing to work on still, because I'm just not there yet. I'm really not. I hold on. I get emotional. I have a bond. I feel like I have an obligation also. So I think this is the biggest thing for me, is maybe looking at it from more of a stoic perspective. So I've been listening to a lot of Marcus Aurelius and just to kind of get me through and just kind of recalibrate my mind and where I need to take the next step, because sometimes bad relationships end up haunting you, and they manifest in your next relationships and your friendships and the people that you surround yourself with. So that's something that I think we all need to learn to see and to understand, and to be able to distance yourself from situations as well. I think that is something that I'm very much learning. And to be honest, I felt like I had mastered this a long time ago when I was much younger. Yeah. However, when people that are close to you are constantly chipping away at your confidence and what you feel to be right, then that actually messes you up in a way that, well, I mean, essentially it's a lot of trauma there, but it deforms who you are as a person and who you understand yourself to be. So I guess that's what I'm learning about. I just need to know how to take myself out of the situation, be more objective, but also know when to quit and know when to not give another chance. I think that is very, very important for us as humans.
I think, as humans, exactly. It's empathy, if you will, compassion, and just listening to the other person and also knowing what your weaknesses are as well. I'm in the same boat too. I'm not sure what happened, but for me, it's I tend to like give that person so much room for error, even though they're like constantly throwing darts at my face.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but for me, it manifests. I look at it not as a positive or negative when I'm about to say next, but for really messed up relationships, I looked at it as a way to get my art across because I'm not sure if you're aware, I do music as well.
Yeah.
I don't do it like that hardcore. It's just something that's, I do. And it got so bad, relationships, for me, whatever, that I decided to make a trilogy album. And the first album, the first songs became I really wanted to make like a horror album.
I love that. No, so you drew inspiration then.
Yeah. I took like, it's because I'm not really straightforward. I'm straightforward, but as an artist, I don't think art should be so straightforward. I think it should be more, everything should be a metaphor and let the viewer make their own assumptions. And that was my going into it on the music side of things. I'm like, you know what? You ever been to an art gallery?
Yeah.
And what do people at art galleries do? They look at the paintings or sculptures and they come up with their own view of what they see of the art.
Yeah.
So that's what was my idea for the first album. For case in point, one of the songs, "Wish Granted," was it's completely about becoming a vampire, but in essence of the song, the bottom layer, it's a breakup song.
Yeah, no, I love that. Let's just kind of psychoanalyze this for a moment. So you became the vampire, but was that because you felt that your other half, so to speak, was draining you so much of life that you just kind of felt like you need to draw energy and like life force from others? Like, is that what this is about?
I guess so, yes.
Wow.
Like, so yeah. In a way it was like, F it, forget about it. I'm just going to say, forget love, forget all this romantic stuff, and I'm just going to go to a bar and see what happens. But not knowingly, I get turned into a vampire because I meet someone. You go out to a bar to have fun. You don't go out to the bar to be sad. So I'm going out to have fun, maybe, find a lady or something. Find a lady, turned out to be a vampire, and I'm like, oh, I had got more than I wanted to ask for, bargain for. And so in essence, everything that I was like, forget about everything, I got tenfold. So yeah, that's a good way you look at it. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Wow. No. That's just it. It's art that tells the story. So like, again, my pilot script was a way for me to kind of break apart the shit that happened. Oh, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, shit that happened. So with the shit that happened, to me, I drew like a lot of inspiration, but then kind of glamorized it so you know how like you have the Bronx in Brooklyn?
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So we have this place where I live. It's called Croydon, and it is like, lovingly, people call it the Bronx.
The Bronx.
I know, but really, like, I was walking home from work the other day and, out popped a street fight. It's just one of those places. So, yeah. So like I kind of drew inspiration because that was where I grew up actually. You know, I grew up on a council estate, and you know, I really fought my way through the education system because I did not know how I bloody well learned. I did not know that. It wasn't up until my final year before entering university that I really realized, okay, I'm really thriving when I do things like this. So, you know, and I pushed for education for myself, and then like afterwards I did my MA. Like really, those are incredibly proud achievements for me, and they kind of led me to be able to like look around me and just kind of draw stories out. So I have a friend that works in like a retro arcade, and she's been building loads of machines and cool shit like that. So during COVID, I was able to get away because it will just be like me and her in this arcade, and you know, I'll be on the dance machine while she's just like fixing shit. So you know, that's how I spent most of the lockdown, like obviously applying to jobs every day, but then, you know, whenever I got the chance, I would escape to the arcade. So then I just was like, okay, imagine there's like a gangster kingpin, and like he's running shit through this arcade, and then there's this girl, and then she's in an abusive relationship, and then like she joins this guy's gang and becomes a hitman because nobody would suspect her. So there's like it's like taking all of your experiences and your wild ass imagination and just like throwing it down onto paper. So I don't know, I mean, I'm going to be applying that to the BBC Writers' Room, so it will open up in like December this year, I think. So, you know, I've already got the second draft down, and I'm about to start working on the third draft after 2 weeks of just, you know, like excessive hedonism, you know. But that's the point of these next 2 weeks. So we're kind of trapped in England, but it's fine. You know, we're just going to travel around and have a little road trip. So,
well, I'm very proud of you going gung-ho and using your past experience and use this art. I think that's really art as a whole. It's really just emotional and experience. There's nothing, it's not true art. It's not really just out the blue, you know, just like, hey, I came up with this idea. No, it's
no way.
It's based upon emotion and experiences.
Absolutely. And I feel like you know what they say, I mean, you as a creative would understand this, that this is more to do with scripts, but I feel like it's generally applicable to all art anyway, is that every film you watch, there's a piece of the writer in there.
Yes.
Because those experiences, yes, it might not be like based straight onto a true story. It might more be like, you know, a few elements are real and inspired by true events, you know, something like that. So I think as artists, everyone gives a little bit of themselves away in there. Really, I really do believe it. And that's what's so beautiful and spiritual about art as well.
So how long when did you decide that you wanted to be in films?
When did I decide? So I started doing media studies for GCSEs. I'm not sure what the equivalent of that, like SATs maybe? I don't know. It's like, what do you do at the end of high school?
So this is you talk about right before you leave high school?
So our high school is called secondary school, and that's up until 16. And then from 16 to 18, if you're following the traditional path, then that's like sixth form or college. So your high school is included up until the age of 18, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then ours isn't, like compulsory education finishes at 16, and then like if you choose to step further, you can. So then after...
They choose to sing to the wolves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, go find yourself a job, mate. So yeah, that's basically how it is. And then like after that you have college. Obviously with A levels from the 17 or 16 to 18, you can kind of choose if you want to go ahead and do that. But you know, again, it's your choice. Not everybody's path is the same. So yeah, so what was the question? I forgot. What was I even saying?
I asked you, she's like, I'm just going. No, I asked you, shit, what was the question? I asked you, when did you decide to go into films?
Oh, that's right. So I was telling you about secondary school system. Okay, so near to the end, when I did my GCSEs, I was able to do this module or this class called Media Studies for one of the units. And it was in that I was actually introduced to British Asian films. So like South Asian in particular. So we're talking like India, Pakistan, that kind of region. So British South Asian films. So it was about those people that had immigrated to the UK and kind of crossing between the UK divide, like the UK Western culture, and then the Eastern traditional conservative culture of South Asia, which, you know, like it's very well known for arranged marriages, acid attacks, and Bollywood. So that, you know, there's a mix there, but ultimately it's still very conservative despite the cinema they export. So with that, I would really recommend for you to watch this film if you get the opportunity to. It's called East is East.
East is East, huh?
Yeah. So it's like a film made in the 90s that I watched for like GCSEs. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is it. I want to go out and party and be with my friends, but like I have to stay at home. I have to learn to cook. I have to learn to do this. Another good one is Bend It Like Beckham as well. But I think those are the, like East is East was the one that really pushed me into wanting to make films and telling these kinds of stories. Okay. So even for my master's, I did a British Asian horror, which is not really a thing just yet. So I sent you a couple of links.
Yeah, I've watched them. Yeah, I like. Yeah, it was.
It was like a really Hammer horror-esque kind of, you know, film.
The one that was on Venmo, it cut out, and I couldn't get back on it. But the amount that I watched, I was like, yo, that auntie is going to stab someone.
That auntie,
is scary.
That's it. Like chopping the vegetables.
Right? I'm like, what? I was like, run.
Yeah. Honestly, I hope you get the opportunity to finish watching that, but you'll really see like how it's inspired by like Dario Argento and like the Hammer horror films as well.
Yeah, I love the intro too. I love how it was cutting out and like I'm like, yeah, I really like this vibe. So I really want to finish it. I was like, it's just cut out. I'm like, no, why is it cut it out? It said connection lost. I couldn't get back on. Like, well, no. I got enough information so I can understand what the movie was about. Which, like I said, that auntie was very, very creepy.
Yeah, I'm glad. That's perfect. But that's exactly what I intended.
Well, I'm glad. I know you're into horror and the whole cult scene. Which I'm definitely into. I've been involved in that for quite some time. I'll never forget. I think I was 13, maybe 12 for Christmas one year, and my aunt comes over, and she comes and checks on me in my room, and my mom got me like this big keyboard, which I have to this day. It's at her house, and I had this keyboard. I'm just playing on it. I'm just doing some music, and my aunt pops into the room. She goes, "Oh, David. You should be in horror films." Like, what are you talking about? It's like, that's a horror. And then she goes like, she didn't even ask my mom saying, your son's making horror music. I was like, I am? It wasn't like melodic tones and stuff. Like, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, I've been like, I should just step into the horror realm. But everything I do, I notice is just horror based.
Yeah.
or strange. But that's what I like about the horror. I had the discussion with this one lady years ago, back in 2005, about movies. And she was a movie buff. She watched all kinds of movies except horror. And I was like, why don't you like horror? And she was like, horror is not real film. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's on film. What are you talking about? That makes no sense to me. Like, it's nothing, it's fake. There's no story there. Like, that makes no sense, what you just said. Just say you don't like being scared. Just tell me that. And that right there is the reason why I like horror films, because they do draw an emotional thing, whether it's fear or whatever. Like,
it's primal fear. Exactly. It is. That's what I love about horror as well, is that it taps into that, that ancient part of the human spirit and psyche that says you could be in danger, and then like enhances that like through sound, most importantly, not just visuals but sound too. That was the coolest thing about this film, making this film as well, was playing with the soundscapes. There was all sorts.
So what do you do exactly as a whole in film, like you personally? I know you're working with the camera. Do you do sound as well?
So far it's just kind of like an independent venture, and when it's an independent venture, you kind of have to learn to do everything by yourself. Yes. But I'm actually looking to get more into the art of storytelling. So right now, I work at a university as a media technician, just working with equipment and tutoring kids on how to use students, how to use the equipment, how best to utilize it, lighting, sound, blah 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 blah, just those kinds of things. So with what I hope to achieve is kind of get my name out there as a writer. I mean, I'll be sending my film to film festivals this year, because again, it was linked to my previous relationship where, he was DOP and I was director, producer, writer, editor. I just want to add all of those in. So it was really hard for me to kind of get to this point now, but I think it's time. It's time for the world to see it. And let's see, maybe it'll gain a cult following, maybe it won't, maybe it'll suck ass, I don't know.
You never know. You never know. Like, if I just had this conversation with someone, and I said there's two types of people in the world. There's the people that are just, regular people that just go through a day just going to work and just coming home, and maybe they go to the bar or whatever, or the pub as you might call it. And then there's the people who call themselves magical creatures, whether it's a dragon or a unicorn, whatever. And I'm like, all right, if you're gonna call yourself a magical creature, then you have to be able to take those risks, because what is magic if it's not risk? And in science is a risk as well. Both scientists are throwing particles at each other to see what happens. They have an inkling of what might happen, but they're not sure what might pop up. The same goes with magic. So I find that fascinating, that I tell people as a creator, you gotta take your risk. You have to go out there and just show yourself to the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I just anytime I have an idea and I'm just like, oh, that'll make a great film. Oh, inspiration. I just make sure I make a note of it, because you never know when that strikes, and just, I don't know. I just want to pull as much magic as I can from the universe, wherever there's a little bit of something that excites me, just push it forward and develop it more. I think that is also like a learning to follow the magic as well, a little bit. But anyway, I want to know though, if you're saying, people consider, some people are just like regular and some people are, magical creatures. What magical creature do you consider yourself?
I'm a sorcerer.
A sorcerer.
Yeah.
A sorcerer. Cool.
Yes. I believe that I have the power to create anything as long as I put my mind to it and willing to work at it. Most people consider themselves, what I said,
the alchemist, the magician.
Exactly. You have to like sacrifice things as well, and that's another thing. You have to be able to like do what we're doing now is putting yourself out there, like you said, putting yourself in predicaments or situations in which you normally wouldn't do. Get out your comfort zone, because the more you get out your comfort zone, the more things will appear. And then, like you said, you follow the magic, and then you utilize the magic. You have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to look at the synchronicities of things, understanding how it works. So, for example, this can become something. This can become a film. This can be the beginning of a horror film. That's how my mind works. And in terms of like following the magic, I always think about how I come up with ideas, or how I make sure my ideas stick. Is now I keep either books by my bed, or I keep my voice audio on my phone on like all day, and I just say random stuff, and then I love that. Yeah, because you never know. The most creative things come when you're not really thinking. Also from experiences and emotional drama and stuff like that, but usually from the time when you're not really trying to create stuff, where you're out about with your friends, or you're just in the room, you're singing and dancing, you come up with an idea. This would be a great idea for this, and then you'll forget the idea. Like, I had an idea for something, I forgot what it was. But that's how I come up with things. I want you, because we haven't really got to it really, I want you to state your name for the crowd.
Okay. So the issue is, my name is like my married name still, so it might be something different. Can I state that as well?
You can state whatever you feel comfortable with.
Okay, so
whatever you want the world
right now,
to know.
I'm currently known as Leila D'Angelo, but I am going through a divorce. So
same here.
oh, David, I'm sorry. But my next name is going to be my paternal name, so my father's name. So it would be Leila Gory, which is apt for someone that makes horror films.
Yeah. It's like Stephen King. King of horror.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the marriage thing, because I want to touch on that, because there was something that I was trying to bring up. There was a name for it, and you mentioned it earlier during this conversation. And I looked it up like weeks ago when we first talked, and I was like, oh yeah, I know all about that, but I didn't know I had a name for it. And it was something about, what was it? I might got it wrong, but arranged marriages or something like that.
Yeah, arranged marriage. Yeah.
So the way you stated it in the video, which I couldn't find for the life of me, like, I know I saw the other page. I know I saw it. And I looked it up, like, so tell me how I had a question for it, like, so I know that's still a thing in the world as a whole, but like, how would you like to talk about that?
Sure.
I know you made a video about that, so I know you want to talk about it.
Yeah, no, so basically with arranged marriage, my first marriage, yes, second time married and getting divorced. So I was actually 19
Okay.
And that was a totally arranged marriage. The guy was incredibly traditional, and just did not understand me and always threatened me with divorce if I didn't listen to him. So obviously that ended pretty quickly. Tensions were high. I felt like an absolute failure at 19 because I couldn't make my arranged marriage work. But then
I'm sorry.
so then afterwards, at 23, I got remarried. However, this was to someone that I chose myself, who was like not part of my culture, not my ethnicity or anything. But again, just from the way that I had been raised, I wasn't able to recognize red flags. I was very naive. I just did not know a lot, that there was just so much growth I needed to do that I hadn't done before because I'd never had the opportunity. So then essentially I ran away from home to be with this guy, and then just day by day things just got worse and worse, and I left my successful career. You know, it was just starting off, but I left my career for him and everything just because of the sheer power of his manipulations. But it is what it is, because you know, I've gone through the pain and understood what it is, and maybe even how I could portray that kind of pain, like in my films and TV shows or whatever I end up making in the future. But with arranged marriage, I feel like, you know, so many young brown girls are always taught, you know, you can do whatever you want after marriage. So you want to go traveling with your friends, you can do that after marriage. You want to live on your own, you can do that after marriage. It's not, you are held very tightly. And I feel like that kind of, it just takes away from your knowledge of the world.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it really just does not allow you to grow, because you don't get to experience that normal adults would get to experience from the age of 18 plus. It's very much not like that, you know? So there is just this toxic culture surrounding it, that a woman can only do certain things once she's married, and I just don't think that's very fair. I feel like a lot of women have a lot more to give than just maybe being a wife to someone or just bearing children, and they make it so that that is your first priority. I feel like that's still my first priority, just to be a better like carer for others, so for my parents or my brothers and sisters, before I put my career first. But I think I'm going to have to make some choices, some very difficult choices regarding that, because, you know, at the end of the day, only you know what is right for you to do.
Yeah.
So
that brings me to a quote that's like my favorite quote of all time now. It goes, it's pretty dark, but it makes so much sense at the same time. It's tradition is peer pressure from dead people. And I was like, that's dope.
That is absolutely true as well.
Because it's like, it's basically saying like, yeah, these things happened thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, and it worked. Like, yeah, but that was hundreds of years ago. We're talking about today. So how do you feel? I mean, I see how you feel, but what's the question? I always, because I have friends who are like in that realm of possibly been part of arranged marriages or escaped it, whatever. Do you think it's time for a change?
I mean, the time for change was long ago, but people want to hold on to their old ways because, you know, again, they think, okay, well, it's been doing us right for however many hundreds of years. It's only good that it should continue. I think there definitely needs to be an update on what the understanding of marriage is, because again, you know, I'm seeing my brother struggle with women because he's been so mollycoddled and not been taught how to talk to women. Like, you know, again, like from the background that I come from, there's like a divide between men and women. They're not really supposed to interact until they get married.
Really?
So yeah, so I feel like that is, yeah, so I do come from a Muslim background. So
Okay.
Islam would be the religion, and a
Okay.
Muslim is the person who follows the religion of Islam. So like I see him struggle, and I'm just like, I just wish you would have the guts to move away and just to try a few spicy things out. just so, you know, you can like maybe interact a bit better. It's just like,
Like, just try it. It's gonna be
you
fun.
know, dip a toe in the devil's water. Nothing too crazy. Just a toe.
Come on. What's the worst that can happen? That's a good sister. I'm dead serious. That's a good sister, because sometimes you do have to take a risk in life. That's what we talked about earlier. You do have to take a risk. Like, man, if I'm not sure, is he still having trouble?
Yes, I just feel like his outlook on life is just so rigid. But I feel like that is probably from the pressure that my parents put on him too. Whereas like there's 2 black sheeps in our family, so it's me and my other brother. So there's 5 of us all together. I'm the eldest, of course I'm going to be the black sheep. Then I've got my brother that struggles to talk to women. Then I've got my other brother who is the black sheep with me, and then there's 2 little twins, and you know they're only 14 right now, but you know, let's see how they end up. But to be honest, I've not done too badly. I think for a black sheep I've done fairly all right.
Black sheep get a bad rep. We get a bad, because I'm a black sheep. We get a bad rep. It's not that we're like going around doing it. There's 2 types, like we talked about earlier. It's like the good kind of black sheeps and the bad types of black sheeps. For the good type of black sheeps, we're mostly just trying to do our own thing, really. It's like, you know what?
Yeah.
What you guys are talking about is just not for me.
It's just going against the grain, isn't it? Like, just questioning certain things and being like, well, why? You know, do I need to do this? Like, can we try hummus instead of having this curry for dinner, Mom? like
I mean, is it bad?
You know, like, it's just, I don't know. It's like drip feeding my parents though. Like they've definitely become a little bit more adventurous, but I'm going to have to put the pressure on them a bit at a time still. Oh, you know,
parents usually tend to become more flexible as they get older. My mom is the same way. I didn't come from a heavily religious background, but I came from a religious background. I grew up multi-religion, if that makes any sense. So like, she grew up mostly Baptist, which is a form of Christianity, but she also went to like Catholic schools. We went to Catholic schools every once in a while. So I was like mostly into the realm of all these religions, but I always thank her for that, because I'm like, and in a way, it kept me open-minded to a lot of things. So I'm like, okay. So I started making up my own questions. Like, so I kind of got in trouble with Sunday school one time. And I don't know if I should say it here. I might edit it out. But for the sake of our conversation, it was very interesting. And it's probably sacrilege too. But anyway, I would say it. Just my check, my back is perfect. So I'm in Sunday school one day, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, Leila, like, hey, I have a question. I was like 11 or 12 at the time. Hey, I have a question. What if we're on the wrong side. Like, what? Yeah, like, what if God is evil and the devil's good? It was like, it's like, what? It was like,
oh my God.
it was a valid question. It was a valid question.
I totally understand. No, like that is such a valid question, because I remember around that same age, I would consistently get into trouble, and I'd be like, I wish I lived in a place where everything I did was good and everything that other people did was bad. Then I'd be right all the fucking time. God, no, but it is. It's like, what if we're on the wrong side? What if, what if God doesn't actually care about us? What if it's just a conscious energy type of situation, and not like, right, I'm a bearded man in the sky and I'm sending you to heaven and sending you to hell? Like, what if it's not that at all?
It's a valid question that people just really need to take into account.
Yeah. I mean, I think, oh God, religion has definitely it's been used as weapons in the wars that we've had throughout history, even to this very day, where people scour up prejudice against each other. It's awful. But then at the same time, what it does is just further alienates the people that follows those religion to follow it extra hard and become really orthodox. And then they just kind of fight back, but with a zealous kind of hate almost, because it's we are the chosen ones by God. It's that kind of mentality. Whereas, I don't know, I kind of believe that we all have the ability to connect with God, every single individual, just because, I do believe that the breath of life was breathed into us, and I believe that is God, and energy can never be destroyed. So, that little piece of God is in us as well.
Yes, so, exactly. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think people treat religions as sports teams. So if you have your favorite sports teams, like, my team can beat any team, and you might have gripes with your team, but for certain your team is your team, and other people have their teams, and that's where people clash heads. No, F your team, fuck your team. It's the same sport. It's, like you said, we're trying to get to the same place, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But don't you? I noticed you have a few books. That I have a few books as well. One of them was Chaos Magic.
Yes.
How did you just get into that, or is that something that you've been into for a while?
So I think in terms of chaos theory, that is more a recent kind of event. I've always been really spiritual. I don't know, are you familiar with Teen Titans?
The comic book?
The show?
Yes.
Yeah, the comic book, the show, the cartoon. But it's how there's that character Raven?
Yes.
So when I was really young, I was just I was really inspired by her to meditate, and I was like, what if I get superpowers? How cool would that be? So I started meditating and stuff like that, but I never got them, so I just kind of gave up. But also tarot cards was something that I was always super obsessed with. Again, it came through this anime that I used to watch as a kid called Escaflowne. I don't know if many people have seen that, but that was one of the ones that inspired me, because she's got a dowsing pendant and then tarot cards as well.
Okay.
So, and then also card captors, all of these things, I'm just wow, I just was so interested. It just kind of all, I would say I really got into, maybe about 7 years ago, I got into reading tarot cards and oracle cards and things like that. But I would say with chaos magic, that is much more of a recent thing. And as we know, there is much chaos in the world, so maybe utilizing that won't be a bad thing. it's all in perfect order anyway, isn't it? So
That's why I thrive. That's why I was thriving in 2020. Apparently,
yeah,
I utilized the chaos of the world, which I think a lot of people should have.
Yeah, I think in a way I probably did too, because I managed to write a 60-page screenplay. So, you know, like, that is it. It's thriving, isn't it? Thriving through chaos.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love how pretty much, because chaos theory and chaos magic are like the same and they're not. One is scientists have created in a way, and the other one is
but science is magic. I'm not even gonna play. It's magic.
It is. It's the same freaking thing.
Yeah, it's harnessing, you know, even like fucking particle science, molecular science is just like, it is the building blocks of the bloody universe.
Yeah.
You know, really, that is, science is definitely a form of alchemy and magic. Really, 100%. I would absolutely say so.
Like, there is this book about on high magic, and then it states that in order to like become a sorcerer or any type of magician, whatever, that you should use the scientific method. I was like, wow. Like, so you basically should go to the scientific method of how you go about your practices and stuff. So I never really thought about it like that, ever, about using science, their methods, in terms of magic. I thought it was like it's just, I know they're the same, but I thought they was like, all right, it's like eating an apple as opposed to eating an orange. I'm like, oh no, you're telling me it's like actually use what science, how they do their science, and just do it your way again. Like, I found that fascinating. Anyway, so what?
That is. So was it more like experimentations or variations or like variables? What were you like looking at in terms of connecting the scientific method to the, I guess, more spiritual method of it?
Right now, I just discovered it. So, but what I learned from is basically was talking about how you would first observe, and then you form a hypothesis, and then you go to the experience. I probably got them out of order, and then you form your conclusion and things like that. And so I was like,
that's actually perfect if you really think about it,
right?
Yeah.
So how would you make a spell? Whether it, because your films would be a spell, my art world would be a spell. Like, how would you formulate your spell? So, like, let's go back to the bad relationships of both of us. The observation was, what the fuck happened? What the fuck happened with me? And then the hypothesis was you need to formulate ideas and sequences, and what would happen if I did this? What would happen if I did this? What would happen if I became a vampire? You know, and then the conclusion is, oh, you would lose all compassion. You know, so your film, it'll be the same thing. What will happen if this happened? Let's see what happened. The conclusion, this.
Yeah. I mean, really, I never thought to, again, that is in a way modern stoicism as well. It's thinking from such an objective place to be able to form such a complete analysis of things. You know, really, it is. It's delving deep. It is almost like shadow work as well, in that observing and hypothesizing and just coming to conclusions and figuring out how you would do your next trial and error better.
That's funny you mentioned that shadow work, because that's what we're both doing. I know essentially that's what I'm doing, but that's what we're both doing. That's what I did with the first album, Void of Life. It's all shadow work for me. It's not like, well, the first one is shadow work, and the second one is like rebirth, if you will. Like, after the shadow work has been completed, like, what have you noticed about yourself? And then the third album would be like the mastery of oneself, and this is moving forward, knowing that what you have to do. Like, to give you example of how how a person should view hardships, if you will. There we go, hardships. I'm going to use the term abyss. Have you ever seen the movie The Abyss?
The Abyss? No, I have not.
Oh man, it's a really good movie.
Okay.
It's a horror-esque film. I say horror-esque because it's not so much horror, but it has horror elements in it.
It's like psychological.
Yeah. James Cameron.
Okay.
Yeah. So it came back in the 80s. James Cameron, I believe. So anyway, so I have this. I've utilized that movie only because the abyss, and the word I'm going to use, the abyss, and the word I'm going to use, the void. The abyss and the void, people will say that they're one and the same. I'm thinking they're not. Because I'm like, the abyss is like water, and then the void is like oil. So you have, if you put them in a cup, and then imagine you put like a tack in there, something that sinks down, and then that's you going through life and hell and destruction and all that stuff that's part of life. And then you get to the void, and the void is more denser than water. So you're gonna stay there, but gravity will eventually pull you down because it's going to sink you. So I'm like, you have two choices at that moment if you're a human. You ever been to a bottom of a pool? Like you ever like, and then what happens when you go and touch the ground, you push yourself back up?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, you have two choices at that moment at the void. You can let the void take you, because once it does, it's like quicksand. It's over. It's a wrap. Life has won. It's beaten you. Or you could be like in the pool and push yourself back up.
Yeah.
Now your buoyancy back up above water. And then even if you go back and sink, you'll never be afraid again, because you know exactly what to do. Push yourself back up. That's how I view the void.
Honestly.
That was my life of darkness, what I've discovered.
No, that's incredible though. Really, it is. It's I think you're right. The fact that it is to do that, like the perfect metaphor is quicksand for it, because I remember when I went through like the worst depression of my life, it lasted like 2 years, and it was almost impossible to do anything, even basic day-to-day things such as, having a shower, brushing your teeth. I know that sounds gross, but
no, I get you.
You cannot do anything. You just want to die. And coming out from that was just the biggest struggle. But now, what they say is that rock bottom is a perfect place to start, It's the solidest foundation you can build now, since that's where you are. And then you just start building yourself up and just push for yourself to be more resilient as well, in terms of how, I guess, who you surround yourself with and how you take your next steps as well. Just resilience in all aspect of your life, Yeah,
I'm curious. What got you out of your depression?
I didn't want to be in it. And I realized that I want to die because of the way my life is now. But it means that I want this life to end, whereas I want another one to begin. And so I just pushed, like I fought against my ex, and I did that master's as well, and that just like I got like a really like small part-time job somewhere, and I started building my self-confidence back up after it had just been like shattered and shredded to pieces. So for me, it was going out there. It was not wanting to be in that place because I knew I had experienced better things. And I think that's what you have to consistently do, is when you start feeling down, remember the good things that you've experienced and make an effort to actually have good experiences when you're feeling okay. You know, like, this is why I'm just taking 2 weeks out to spend time with some of my best friends, you know, and just have a fun time. So it's about making some magical moments with some very special people that I guess you could call your soul tribe or whatever you want. But their spirit resonates with your spirit. Just find people like that. Ask, you know, the great creator. Just say it, because the energy's out then, you know. So like, manifest those people and just start making moves together, moves apart, and see if they support you. That's it. That's part of your tribe. But if not, it's okay. It's a learning curve, and you're learning who you get on with and who you don't. So it's perfectly fine.
You do have to have a good tribe.
Absolutely. I can't tell you, some of the strongest people I know are like surrounding me at this moment in time, and I'm just so happy, because that gives me strength as well, because damn, they got my back. Like, that's it. That's what you need. Some people to be your ride or dies, you know?
Yeah. It's funny because most people would rather stay in the same realm of the same characters, people in their life, not knowing that they're being destroyed by those same people. They're like, no, you just like you find better people. You stay around those happy people that wants to bring you up, that boost up your ego. They're not telling, oh yeah, you suck. Like, I don't want to hear that I suck.
No, nobody does. There's constructive criticism too. There's like, okay, you know what? You've got this, and this down. The only thing that could make this better is this, and it will just push everything further. It's like, I'm happy to accept those constructive criticisms, you know, but just don't be a dick about it. Like, otherwise, wow. Like, I'm just going to reflect it back to you. And I think, to be honest, that's what ended up happening in my last relationship, is I just started talking to him and treating him the way he treated me, and it actually destroyed everything. Because I was like, I'm done with being bullied. So that's it. You reap what you sow, you know? That's the thing.
I feel like your rise was primal. It was like very primal. Like you said, it's like, I can't think what movie it would be, but like the movie in which the protagonist has had enough. It's like,
yeah,
I'm done with this, and like the protagonist gets the blade and the dagger, and instead of being the hunted, she becomes the hunter.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Oh, that's great. Thank you. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I listen to so many like motivational speeches and stuff like that on YouTube, you have to do something to get yourself out of your stink. Like, you can't just hope it goes away. You have to be active about it. And that's if you don't want to feel that way anymore. Just know that the worst part of life never ever lasts forever. You know, there is always going to be, if you want good to happen and you hope for good to happen, it will happen. It will. That's just no doubt. Life is, you know, the pendulum swinging. Sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's negative, but it's always teaching us something new. And that's what I have to keep telling myself, just to, like, you know, get through life, essentially.
Yeah, you have to keep yourself, you're your own motivator. And even though you found your tribe, you're the one who got yourself out of it. And that shows a lot of character for you. I'm not sure if I got myself out of it like 100% when I started my rise, but the story.
No, I don't think I'm 100% out of it either. I don't think you need.
I'm talking about I'm talking about the initial spark.
Oh, I see.
I'm talking about the initial spark. You stated that you was like, I gotta fight. Like, you got the knife, and you started swinging the knife, and anybody was in your way that was causing you trouble, you stabbed them. I find that dope. That's my metaphor I would use. That's why I saw my brain like, oh man, you ever see this movie, Ready or Not? It just came out 2 years ago. You should really see it.
Okay.
It's a movie about a bride who gets married.
Oh yeah.
and things don't happen the way that they should happen. She gets hunted in a way. I'm not gonna ruin the rest, but I'm like, that's essentially what I saw in my brain when you said how you decided to get out. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm over it. I'm gonna start barking back. But no, my rise from hell came in two forms. One was a vision, and the other one was just me sitting on the couch one day waiting for my grandfather to get ready for dialysis, and my mom popped in my head. I'm sitting on the couch waiting for him to get ready. My mom popped in my head like, "Hey, like, David, you're better than this. Like, you've been raised better. You went to school. You went to college. You graduated. So why are you so depressed and messed up?" And then the other time was the vision that I had, which I'm very comfortable with talking about now, but back then it was like still in the darkness. Was one day, this is like the full blown of depression stage. I'm like 500 pounds at the time. I'm 6'4", 500 pounds, don't really care, living on the streets. I just gave up life. And I'm in this hotel one day, and I had like this vision of my goddaughter, right? And she came to me as a 25-year-old. She is 3 years old at the time. And she comes to me and she goes, "Hey Dave, it's gonna be okay." I was like, like, "It's gonna be okay, Uncle Dave. Like, everything's gonna work out. Everything's gonna be fine." Also, then she goes, "Also, you have to see my kids." Like, "You have kids?" It's just like, "Yeah, one of them reminds me of you." It's like, hold up. Like, I have to see this to fruition. And then I remember start crying and stuff, and I'm like, I say that was like the most pivotal part, because it wasn't just a vision. Like, I was to the point about to kill myself. Like, yeah, like I remember it. Like, I don't know if it was like me in my mind or some type of spirit, but I like to sleep with the door open, the window open. I'm sorry. When I'm in the hotels, whatever. When I'm on top levels, so the door was like completely open. I'm out. I'm just like, I'm gonna jump off that ledge. That was my mind state. That was my mind play. And it was like I was trying to stop myself, but I just knew that I was going out that window head first. I don't care. And I was top floor. And she came to me, and then the strength became more stronger to stop. So, and then that was it. There was those two incidents allowed me to like be here.
Yeah. And I'm so glad for it. Honestly, I am so glad for it. Like, I think what you do, not only does it help you, but I think it helps like a lot of the people that watch you as well. Really, I do. I think it's so important in society to be able to have these dialogues with different people with different ideas and understandings. To be able to do that, it takes away from the alienation that people may have, you know. So
Yes.
thank you so much for trusting me enough and trusting the audience. Hi. To, you know, disclose that. What a beautiful piece of history there. Thank you for being here. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we've all had, well, I don't know about all, but like to that point, it is such a scary place to come back from. It really, really is. It's like you're willing to throw it all away. But there you go, you know, words of wisdom from, you know, your mother and your niece as well.
Yeah, two people who have the utmost protection from me. If anything happens to those two characters, this brother's doomed. But I don't want to keep you that longer. I know what time is it over there?
Well, it's 6:16 and I have to go and eat like dinner soon. So
oh my god, so it's dark time. Okay, yeah. Go get your food and I'm going to do something. But it was lovely talking to you. I would love to talk to you again.
Let's do it. Anytime next week is good. So just let me know whenever you want to talk. I'm here. It was. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
And once again, I want you to tell the people right before you leave anything else that you would like the public to know about you and yourself as an outro.
Okay. I'd like for you all to know that when you are in a dark place, it does get better. Just, you know, by the end of this video, Dave, please like put on some suicide helpline information. I think that's crucial. But I just want everyone out there to know that if you want better, it will get better. Snap yourself out of it, because that's the only thing that's ever going to work. Listen to motivational speeches, whatever you got to do, you know, hula hoop, I don't care. Just anything that brings you joy, do that, okay? And bit by bit, you know, you will see an improvement in you and your mental state as well. So yeah, if you're on that journey, I hope that, you know, everything works well for you in the future. That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining Danger Room. Leila, right? It's Leila.
Leila. That's it.
Leila, thank you for joining us. Have a good night, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.